everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you finally the studying tips that I promised you guys that I would do. So I apologize that it took me such a long time. I've just done quite a few talking videos lately and I just wanted to kind of have a break from that, and I'm sure you guys wanted to as well. So yeah, a lot of you guys have asked questions regarding my career and regarding, you know, how I became a doctor, my medical experience, because not everyone wants to know that. Not everyone wants to be a doctor. I may do it in another video or in a blog post. I guess I'll touch on it a little bit today, but I do just want to give general advice to anyone going through uni and my experience through uni or college, as some people refer to it as. I'm not going to provide you guys with any breakthrough advice. I just wanted to let you know, because the truth of the matter is university is hard work, okay? You have to study to get that degree. You have to do the work, but I think university provides you with one of the greatest experiences you will ever learn in your life. So without further ado, let's get on to it. I've just made some notes in my agenda here. Excuse my voice, it's really croaky for some reason. I'm not sure if I'm coming down with anything. I've just got a bit of a postnasal drip, so I think that's aggravating my throat a little bit. Okay, so let me just quickly touch on my university experience. So I graduated from uni 2 years ago, so this is my second year out, and I am a qualified medical practitioner or a doctor. I did an undergraduate degree. I did a Bachelor in Medicine, Bachelor in Surgery, or MBBS. That is the equivalent of MD, which is, I believe, medical doctorate. Australia is moving towards calling them MDs now rather than MBBS, but it's all the same. It makes no real difference. I did an undergraduate degree, as I mentioned, so that means straight out of high school I went and did university. The other options for medicine obviously is a postgraduate degree, which I believe in the US it is. So what you do is you do a bachelor's in science or pharmacy or pre-med, whatever you guys call it, and then you do medicine. In Australia we have those options, but we also have the undergraduate degree option. So the undergraduate degree lasts for 6 years, which I did. There are some 5-year courses, and the postgraduate is 4 years. An undergraduate medical degree is divided into clinical, preclinical and clinical years, or theoretical and clinical years. So 3 years of that degree you are studying theory. You're in lectures, in classes, learning about biosciences, human body, cardiology, respiratory. The last 3 years is your clinical years, so that means you're mainly in the hospital, and as you go along you do still have lectures and classes, but they are more clinical based. So it's not just the theory, it's about how these pathologies present in the practice and their management investigations. So it's more practical, it's more clinical knowledge, and, you know, obviously examining patients. With medicine you do have subjects, but rather than subjects as in their own entity with their own exams, when we did exams it was for the whole year. So we would have mid-year exams and then we have end-of-year exams, and even though we were doing 4 subjects at a time, they all combine into one, which you should expect, because obviously medicine isn't just this or just that. The medical problems do present together, so you know that's how they would examine us. They'd give us a clinical scenario, and then obviously they'd have relevant questions, and each question would pertain to a particular subject, and then that's how it would go. So that's medicine in a nutshell. It's really hard to explain, but getting into medicine, a lot of people ask me how to get into medicine. Basically, just have a look at what university you want to go to, what you can apply for. If you're in high school, make sure you know what subjects are required before you can even apply, what the minimum exam score is, and then just work your way through that. Do your research. Is always about preparing yourself. I knew I wanted to be a doctor ever since I was basically 4 years old, so I've always through high school been working my way to be a doctor, so getting into med school, so that I made sure that all the subjects that I had were the ones that you needed to get into medicine. So English, maths, biology, physics, chem, and an elective, which I did Japanese. So those were the subjects that I did in year 11, year 12. Give yourself leeway, so in case you don't do well in a subject, you can use another subject. It's really hard to explain. Whatever your high school does, just look up how they calculate your scores, and you know how you can get the best score that you can, and you know what you need to apply for in those schools, what experience you need to have, etc, etc. So I can't really give you a straightforward answer as to how to get into med school, because it all obviously differs between universities, but just it's really about being prepared and knowing that you want to get in and then doing the work to get there. There's no easy way about it, and really I believe in hard work. I believe in just in getting what you deserve. So if you work hard, you will get there and you will be rewarded eventually. Alright, so that's medicine, and I know not everyone wants to do medicine, wants to be a doctor, but let's just talk about everyone who wants to do a tertiary degree. So tertiary schooling is so important, I think. I know that obviously, like I said, it's not the be all end all. It's not like you're not going to go anywhere if you don't have a tertiary degree, but it is such a good experience, you guys. Like, you learn so much, you meet so many wonderful people, and I know that it's not always an affordable option for some people. In Australia, we're really lucky to have HEX, which is really the cheapest loan you will ever get from the government to enable us to have the opportunity to study. So I think we're really lucky in that, because in America, in the Philippines, it would cost so much money just to send someone to university. So regardless of how you got into uni or who's paying for your uni, be grateful that you are there and don't waste that opportunity. I loved university. I loved learning. I loved meeting all the wonderful people that I did. It was definitely way better than high school. So anyone in high school who's petrified of university, don't, because you will meet some wonderful people. You will make some lifelong friends. I did my university in Queensland, and with my degree there was a lot of people who travelled interstate to do the medicine, and so for me it was really easy making friends, because a lot of them didn't really have their own clique of friends. So I met some of my best friends there. I don't know where I'd be without them, and so many of them have meant so much to me. When I went to university, I actually stayed on campus, so I left home and moved into the uni. I thought that was a really good experience. In the first year, obviously you don't know anybody, so you're all about getting that social life, building that group of friends, and partying, which looking back I think I partied quite too hard, but that's fine, because eventually you get over it and you do start to get it out of your system and you move on. Anyways, let's get on to my tips for studying at university. Like I said, it's not going to be like an instruction manual on how to pass your exams or how to study. It's not going to be like that. It's just going to be my general tips on how I got through med school, how I got through my degree, how I continued to study, because uni does test you. It tests your endurance, it tests your motivation. It's not always gonna be easy. So the first tip I have for anyone who's going into university and doing a degree is have a goal. Look at your motivation to do this degree. So for anyone who's doing medicine, why are you doing medicine? Do you want to do medicine? Or is someone telling you to do medicine? Is it for money? Is it for recognition? There's so many different motivations for doing a particular degree, and I guess that motivation in the end is the one that will keep you going. So it should be good. It shouldn't be just because I want to, because when times get hard, you are not going to keep going. You are just gonna up and leave. It's just not good enough to do it for the heck of it. I've wanted to do medicine since I was 4. I've considered other options, but I did. This is really stupid. I've told my mum this, but I actually found year 12 really hard, just because I really pushed myself. I wanted to do really well, so I was studying every night. I needed all A's to get into medicine. There was no getting B's, no getting C's. It was just, that wasn't an option. So I studied really hard, and I guess I I really pressured myself, and at times I did, feel really exhausted, like I can't keep doing this, I feel really tired, I don't want to do this anymore. But I had a dream that basically I didn't get into medicine, I didn't become a doctor, I was a teacher, something like that. Nothing against teachers, you guys are great, but I just felt so unhappy, and I just saw my friends, because I was surrounded by friends who also wanted to be a doctor, which is another point I'll touch on in a little while, who were doctors, and I looked at them and I was just so unhappy with my life. And then I woke up and I woke up just upset, like just distraught. I thought that was my life, and when I woke up I was just so ready to tackle everything that came my way, just so that I could do medicine, because I knew that it was what I wanted to do. Once you get in, med school is easy, but there are times where you just question yourself in terms of, is this even what I want to do? Halfway through you're like, I don't know if I even enjoy this, and you start to really question what you're doing in that degree. Are you wasting your time? Are you wasting your money? And sometimes it can get to the point where you don't even think you're good enough because you're just so scared you're going to fail. I actually went through that phase in year 3. I felt the subjects were really difficult. I wasn't sure if I was going to pass the exam, and at that point I questioned, what if I fail, what am I going to do? Am I going to reapply, or am I going to consider other choices? Now, let me be honest with you, medicine doesn't light a fire within me every time I studied it. For me, I wanted to do it because it was my passion for a job. Fashion was a hobby for me, but I really enjoyed it, so I thought, should I pursue something in fashion? I obviously enjoy it. So there was a lot of questioning for me at that point, a lot of hesitation. Is this what I want to do? Should I change? Am I good enough? Am I going to hate it as soon as I graduate? Those kind of things go into your mind through uni, and that is completely normal. For me, I felt that was just nerves, that was just my fears of failure, and I didn't want it to be a rejection. I wanted it to be a learning lesson of, maybe this isn't something I was supposed to do, but I passed and I was very happy. So just make sure you have the right motivation, that you are doing it for you, because when times get tough, it's really hard to see the future when obviously your motives aren't even that solid to begin with. So have a goal, visualize how you're going to get there. So what's your plan? And even if you don't get in the first time, are you going to try again? What are you going to do? Would you consider a postgraduate degree? Are you going to study something else, or are you going to reapply for that same course and do some experience beforehand? Not everything goes according to our plan. I didn't actually go to med school straight after high school, not because I couldn't, but because I didn't want to. Year 12 was really hard for me. Like I said, I put a lot of pressure on myself to achieve the score that I needed to get into med school, and after that I knew I wanted a break. I knew I wanted to have a year gap, as we know it in Australia. Basically it's just a break in between high school and university, because I just had felt so run down. So I actually applied for a scholarship to go to Japan, which I got, and I spent 6 months in Japan, just immersed in the culture. I went to high school in Japan, and because I was just studying Japanese for 5 years, so I really wanted to put that into practice, and learned about the culture and just have a break, and it was such a good experience. Then I had to return a little bit earlier, so that I could, apply for uni, sit in the interview, and then just go through the motions. So have a goal to define your motivation. Make sure that you are doing it for you. It's cheesy as crap, but it's true. You have to do it for you. Third tip I have, do the work, okay? You need to go to classes. You need to go to those lectures that you think are useless. You need to do the questions that are assigned for you. There's no going around it. You really just have to do the work. You don't have to sit there and read every textbook that they tell you, but you have to do the tasks that they tell you to do. Obviously I found that during my degree, a lot of those questions that you find in the exams, they've already exposed to you at one point or another, and then maybe 2-3% of that is for those who have read every textbook that they've recommended. But just doing the basics of attending classes, you will learn so much. And I do suggest, I guess they all suggest that you maybe read the chapter that they tell you to do before going to the lecture, and I do recommend doing that if you can, because when you go to the lecture, rather than scribbling down everything that they've told you, you can just sit there and you listen, and you, rather than learning new information, you actually just affirm everything you've learned. And then if there's something that you weren't sure and you didn't think made sense, you can actually ask the lecturer afterwards. And then after, when you go home, then you can just rewrite or reread everything you've learned and try to teach it to other people. Like I said, it's just about doing the work. I'm sorry, but there isn't any other way. There is no quick fix to learning everything. You have to learn it. You can't just project it into your mind. It doesn't just happen like that. You have to read it, and you have to consolidate the information. Highlighting, I love highlighting, doesn't do anything. You need to consolidate the information by learning it, and then if you can, it's actually better if you teach it to other people or explain it to other people, because to teach something, you need to know it. You need to be able to make sense of it enough so that you can repeat it to other people and make them understand. So that actually brings me to my next point, which is 4, be friendly and make friends. So I know some people really hardcore into uni and think, no, it's not about making friends, it's about studying, it's about doing, getting all HDs, blah 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 blah. Sure, that might work for you, but for me, I found that I did better when I was surrounded with people who had the same goal. So this also applies in high school. When I was in high school, I didn't surround myself with the popular people. I didn't surround myself with the badasses. I surrounded myself with the friends that had the same goals as me. People who wanted to do well in high school. They were hardworking, and they inspired me to be better than what I was, and that's who you want to surround yourself with. You don't want to be friends with the person who doesn't give a crap about high school, who's got no plans, who's really just skating through life. Not if you don't want to do that. And even at university, I just introduced myself to everyone, super friendly, attended a lot of the social events, and you eventually find yourself gravitating towards the people that are like you. Hang out with the people who want to share their knowledge, who want to study together, who want to do well together. Don't hang out with the people who are in it for themselves. There are people out there who's really, really competitive and basically use you to do better themselves. So don't be with those people. Some of my best friends, you know who you are. I am so blessed to have you guys. If you're watching, you know who you are. You basically have saved me through med school. These people that I have met, these friends of mine, I will cherish for the rest of my life. These are the people that make you want to be better than what you are. You want to study harder, you want to do better, you want to be a better friend, you want to be a better person, and these are the kind of people that you want to hang out with, people that inspire you. And it's not like I want you guys to think, oh, I'm too good for this person because they don't do well. It's not about that. It's just about trying to reduce people who negatively influence you. So people who are telling you to not study, people who are telling you to not do well, people who are judging you because you have aspirations and dreams. Those are the kind of people that you don't want to hang out with. When you have friends, you want to study together. You guys push each other, you teach each other, and you want to see each other do well. You don't want just one person skyrocketing up there and then the other friend just stay here or going down and failing. So yeah, find good friends. And lastly, I know this is going to be another really cheesy, really generic advice. Organize and plan. Organize and plan. Organize and plan. It is always about that. I am 101% a procrastinator. Biggest procrastinator I know. Like, seriously the biggest procrastinator I know, and probably the biggest procrastinator my friends know. I think that I actually did pretty good when I was in high school. I did all the work as soon as I got it. I wasn't as bad of a procrastinator then, but when I got into university, obviously first year was always just like a write-off. You kind of you're always partying too much, you're always drinking too much, you're always socializing too much. But my first exam was pretty nerve-wracking, and obviously you need to plan before that first exam. And that's when I learned that, you know, procrastinating will not get you far when you go through med school. So even if it's just sitting down at the start of the year and planning when your exams are, planning when your assignments are due, and either putting it on your phone, putting it in a planner, putting it in a calendar, and putting a reminder maybe 2 weeks in advance of that saying you need to study or you need to start this assignment, just to prompt you to start thinking about, you know, this is how many days I have left. As I said, in med school with our exams, it is all joined together. So it's not study for this exam on this day, study for this exam on this week. It is all together. So we have to study all our subjects at the same time, and it can be quite a massive task, especially at the end of the year where they put every subject that you've had the whole year into that one exam. It can be very time consuming, so I always like to dedicate weeks. So this week I will be doing this subject, this week I'll be doing this subject, and just dividing it, just having a plan so that you don't feel so overwhelmed in, you know, the last week and you're freaking out because you feel like you've done nothing. That's how I felt in the first year. And my best friend, you know who you are, girl, she is so good at calming me down because I do freak out. Because I'm such a procrastinator, I freak out like last minute going, shit, I wish I studied earlier, I wish I studied more, I'm so shit. And I just bring myself down, and, you know, she would be the calm voice and would break it up for me, saying, look, you know, you've got this much time. How about you do this much during this day, this much during this day? And I cannot be happier to have her in my life. Like I said, all of these tips are just the core things that I found help me. These are just general tips. I know that they're so vague and so general and so generic, but honestly, these are what helped me to get through med school. Doing the work, staying organized, surrounding yourself with supportive and inspiring friends, and have a goal and know your motivation. Just want to quickly go through how I studied, just because I don't really want this to be a step-by-step process on, you know, how to study, because everybody is going to have a different way of studying, and that is the art of it. It's knowing about what works for you, how you retain information. So sometimes some people like to do palm cards. That is such an awesome idea, but I never got into it for some reason. It didn't work for me. I tried it didn't work, so I scrapped it. Other people like to just read, and that for me didn't work either, because first, I'm not a fast reader. Secondly, I have such a short-term memory. I forget everything as soon as I read it, so that didn't work for me. I like to summarize, so I like to make summaries of everything I learned by the week. So I actually did it by the week, and I did it during the week. So this was in the first 3 years of uni, where it was all theory. This was the most effective way for me to learn. This is an example of one of my notes. So it's really manky. This was my neurology summaries. Basically, I did it by week. So that says week 1, and structure and embryology of the nervous system. So this is my neurology summary notes, and I actually just did it on the Word document, and I included pictures as well. What was good about this was I was able to summarize, you know, all the questions that we did that week with all the important points summarized from the textbook, and at the same time you're also consolidating and going through the information that you've learned again. Not only that, by summarizing, I actually use this as a resource for me to refer to at the end of the year. Like I said, in med school, everything that you've learned that year is in that 1 3-hour exam. So it's pretty loaded. I go through this at the end of the year, and it's just easier for me to refer to the information rather than going back to the textbook and reading the whole textbook again. Now the only problem with this is, as you can see here, it's quite thick. Sometimes when you're not really paying attention, you can get kind of carried away and you can do like a 5-page summary for that 1 week when really you're supposed to be summarizing rather than, you know, reiterating every little detail. So that is the only problem with this technique. You do just sometimes, depending on how involved you are, if you're really lazy and you're kind of like off with the fairies doing something else as you're doing this, you kind of tend to just write whatever and not really think about it, and there's really no point in doing that. So this is how I studied, and obviously before the exams, sit in a group and go through questions, bits and pieces. I'm sure a lot of you guys still have a lot of burning questions with regards to med school, and if you want to know my work experience, that's a different topic altogether. I can do that. With regards to those questions, either I will do a video or I will put a blog post regarding it in the info box down below. So don't forget to check out my blog if you haven't, mostly fashion related posts. Before I leave, I just want to say, if tertiary education is something you're looking at, you are making such a great choice. Again, it's not be all end all if you're not, but it is such a wonderful experience, you guys, and you should be so excited and so pumped for it. You will meet some wonderful people and make such wonderful memories. It will be just such a great learning experience. You can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. Imagine how you feel when you graduate and achieve something because you've worked hard for it. So anyways, guys, good luck with all your studies and all your dreams and aspirations. I know that you guys will one day get there if you work hard and believe in yourself. It took me a while to believe in myself, but I did, and you know, now here we are, and I couldn't be happier. So hopefully this inspires you guys to just not sell yourself short and believe that you can do it. So cheesy. I will stop now. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.